Greetings and welcome to PinballHelp. Mike here. Today I am continuing work on this 1982 Gottlieb Haunted House pinball machine, and I want to show you my progress on it. If you've been following this series, I've been doing all kinds of work to this game, and let's go over what I've done so far and bring you up to speed. So at this point I have the game completely operational and running as it should, and it's running on all basically standard Gottlieb boards. I don't know if these are all the original boards. I haven't checked to see if any of this, the serial numbers match, but it is a complete set of the basic Gottlieb System 80 boards. I've got some other ones I'm going to put in a future video in this series where we're going to test other boards that have some additional features. But my goal right here was to bring this game completely up. So let me show you what I've done. So first off, let's look. There's 5 boards in the head, and let's go over what each one of them does. First, you will see there's a little board right here on the back of the swivel out thing. That board right there, the little small board, it's about 3 by 5. That controls a lightning effect with the lights behind the backglass, and I'll show you that in a minute. So that's just a little auxiliary board. Upper right is the MPU board. That's the main processing unit, and let me show you what I've done on this. So as you can see, if you followed the previous videos, with that bottom left connector was all messed up, and here I have completely repinned it. It looks really nice. I'm going to trim this and make this a little bit neater, but I have put all of the lines in place and everything is working as it should. There were 2 additional wires I had to connect. I found in the schematics, and everything in the schematics regarding the wire color and the pin position did match up, so there was no problems there. I didn't need to seek out any additional information. You'll also notice the battery would normally be right here, and I have replaced it with a memory capacitor. That's what that is. It's a Panasonic 1 microfarad super cap. And it'll keep the game's settings for, I don't know, at least a month. If you turn it on every now and then, it just charges up, and it's really good. As long as you play the game semi-regularly, you should never probably lose your settings in this. It never leaks. It doesn't really wear out. So it's a really nice. I like the memory capacitors instead of using batteries that you have to change or anything like that. I guess you might be able to get non-volatile RAM for this, but I like this. You just solder it in, use a little bit of a hot glue gun, and bam. And I've done other videos. Some people say some board sets and games don't work well with the super caps, the memory caps. I haven't had that problem. It works perfect for Haunted House, I can tell you that so far. I haven't had any problems with it. So this is the MPU board. There was 1 cap right over here that I replaced. Everything else is pretty much stock. I did notice my dip switches are a little wonky. Sometimes I flip them and it doesn't seem to sense it. So these are probably not the highest quality dip switches, but they are working. But I've found that if I flip it, sometimes the game doesn't register the change in the setting. Just so you know, the dip switch settings here, the first two banks control the price of what goes on in the coin slot. Even though this is a solid state game, it doesn't really have a whole lot of software-based settings. The settings are still basically in these dip switches, which control the number of balls per game, whether or not the sound, not sound, that's a different board. Features like whether you have an extra ball or a special. You can put it in a mode called novelty mode, where it will not award a game, but it'll give you points instead. There's a few various other small settings like that. Whether you want the match enabled, whether you want to give credits for high scores, or whether you want to enable high scores, or that kind of thing. So that's what this does. There is not a setting for free play. I don't think. And so, this continues the tradition of Gottlieb games, not assuming that they would ever be used in a free play or a home setting. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think there is a free play setting. There are workarounds where you can add an extra switch or do things. So that's this. Although other alternative boards will have that extra feature. So let's move on from that And then below it on the right, that is the driver board that's got all the transistors, the driver transistors for the solenoids, and probably lights and stuff too there. And there wasn't really, I didn't really do anything with it. It doesn't really, at this point, didn't appear to need to be serviced. I had no problems with any of the coils or anything like that. So now let's go over to the upper left. The upper left board right there, that is the power supply board. I think there's some power down in the cabinet, and maybe some rectifiers going on down there too. And I think there's also some rectification up here too. And this provides power to the MPU and various other things. This board I didn't do a whole lot of work on just yet because it's really crispy and it's really fried, and it does appear to be working fine, and somebody else did some work on it, and you can see there's some pretty gnarly heat damage on this board. There are some recommended modifications to this where you want to replace a couple of diodes. You want to replace this one up here, and then there's another one right over here, and you know, of course I would pull this off and replace all the caps too. There's an SCR right over here to the left that people say almost never goes out, and it's very hard to find, but that one is really crispy and crunchy, and I'm afraid of touching it that it might actually break. So the game is working and everything is working fine. I'm not having any power issues. So, and to take this thing apart, you have to, if you want to service this, you have to undo the screws, and then this comes off with a heat sink attached to the back. There's two screws here that have been removed to mount this voltage regulator that's attached to the heatsink, and then you have to desolder these two connections to it from the board before you can separate the board from the heatsink, before you can access the circuit side where you can actually do work on the thing. So you have to literally desolder part of the board apart in order to be able to remove some of these components. It's not a really good design, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. And there are definitely some mods. There's some ground mods that I will do to this. And I haven't done some. This game doesn't appear to have all of the standard ground mods that are recommended, so I'm going to go over that probably in the next video of what to do to bulletproof the game. In this case, I'm not messing with this right now because I want to demo this game because I've got it working and everything is fine. But this board here it's seen better days, and I've basically been debating on whether or not I want to just replace it rather than rebuild it. You can get an entirely new Gottlieb power supply board for like $70, $69 or $79, and maybe even cheaper. So that's what they go for. Now, you know, this thing can be rebuilt, but a newer modern version might actually be a better choice. You know, if it was a couple $100, I would say no, let's rebuild it. You know, but there's a kind of law of diminishing returns, especially when there's a couple of components on there that are not all that easy to get, and you know, it's a poor design. So that's where I'm at right now. I may still try to if this board goes out before I get a replacement power supply, I may still fiddle around with it. But I will definitely do some ground mods on it. So let's go down to the next board down here. This is the power supply for the soundboard right there. And what I did for this was I replaced this cap, and there's another smaller cap there, so I replaced those capacitors. And I don't know if you saw in some previous videos, sometimes the sound would come on and sometimes it wouldn't. I suspected that was probably because of the power supply board for the sound card. Which brings us to the sound card right down below. This board had a bunch of capacitors on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. I replaced all of them. And I also put a little note down here that says capped August 2021. I like to do that. I'll put little notes on the board so that when they've been modified, that you know the date. So this has all been refurbished, and I'm going to clean all of this up. And there you go. That's our system. So let's turn the game on and give it a whirl. Now, I actually have the backglass for this too, and I guess I might as well turn it on and show you, because the backglass for this game is really quite spectacular. So let's do that. Okay, make sure I get this all in place. And here is the backglass. This is kind of scary. It doesn't have the protective rails on the sides. This does appear to be an original backglass, not a repro, and it's in excellent shape. It has not been triple thicked either. So let's turn the regular light off and fire the game up and check out this light show. It looks really pretty. And there we go. Displays are all looking nice. There's a little bit, I don't know if the backglass is oriented properly with the displays. It's slightly off, but I can fix that later. And so there you have it. Check out the lighting effects. And you can see I use some cool white at the top and warm white pretty much everywhere else. And it came out pretty good. Let me cut the overheads off and see if it looks any better. There we go. That's kind of there's a spooky look, isn't that? I think it's really one of the most beautiful backglasses, and the whole game is really, this is just a gorgeous game. It looks really pretty, and the LEDs in it really do look nice. So let's fire it up and play a game. Put the overheads back on, get a little bit more light on this. And here we go. Alright, so not going to be able to see all the action with the phone in this position, but we'll do a little bit so you can see. Got really good music. So there's two flipper buttons on each side. The ones in the back do the upper play field, and the ones on the closer to the player handle the 4 flippers down on the bottom. The upper ones will also handle the lower play field when there's a ball down there, and I guess it can sense when there's a ball. Some of these little plastic rubber barrel things are coming off. So let's give it a play. It's going to be a bit loud with the glass off. Oh! Oh! Not a lot of places to hold the pinball. These plastic rubber things are coming off everywhere, so I'm going to have to replace them. We lost one off of there. So I'll just keep playing. If things start flying off, I'll grab them. Down into the lower. So every time you go down to the lower play field, it increases a bonus multiplier. And the objective is to travel back and forth a lot and get that multiplier up and knock down drop targets both upstairs and downstairs. Gameplay is quite fast for having a big wide open playfield. Oh, and drain. Okay, we're on the last ball here. You'll notice the 1, 2, and 3 stuff. These are pretty interesting targets. Let me show you. When the ball hits them, a solenoid fires and fires the ball back, which is kind of cool. Boom! It's neat. It's like hitting a slingshot. It's pretty cool. You know, so it can fire it back to you. It's pretty neat. So you see the bonus multiplier right there. That's what is applied to the play field. Every time you change from an upper to a lower, it increases the multiplier. It's not as easy to get the ball in the upper or lower playfield as you think. That's going to kick you right back out. There we go. Oh, this is quite a fun game. There we go. So you can trap the ball on this flipper right here and then go for the... Oh, there's one more drop target. See, it's right over here to the left. Let's see if I can get it. Got it! And then lost it. Got extra ball lit. Did I get extra ball? It's not lit now. Oh! Drain-a-roni. There you have it. That's a pretty cool sound. So there's a demo of the game in traditional the way it is. So in the next video I will probably be going over the standard ground mods that need to be done to this game. Then after that I am going to demo two alternative MPU boards that I happen to have. One is from Swimmer and one of them is from Pascal Janin. So we're going to try two completely different sets of boards in here and see how it affects gameplay, what it does, what extra features. So stay tuned for that, and until next time, thanks for watching.